No?
I don't know, but I imagine he was. He like I said, he doesn't strike me as someone that's just a bad kid. But
And never discuss politics or any kind of political agenda?
no, I mean, if he did, it probably would have been with me, and he didn't, so I don't think he did.
And what did they tell you on campus this morning in terms of why you had to leave?
I knew before I came to the campus. I was sleeping off campus, and I was told that campus was going to be shutting. I probably knew that it was going to be shutting down before they shut it down because I saw that was him.
What did they tell you in terms of having to leave campus?
I live with an RA, and he just opened the door. He's like, "Oh, they're evacuating campus." I was asleep. I slept in a little bit around till 10 o'clock. So, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the guy who was responsible for the bombing used to go here." And he's like, "We have to evacuate because it's protocol or something like that."
And you just had a ride with him a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. I just had a ride with him 2 weeks ago on Monday, and
what'd you talk about?
Nothing really. Soccer. That's it. We never really spoke about much else other than that.
He's a pretty bad driver, so it's hard to focus on anything in the car without
mostly you're like, slow down, stop driving so wildly, erratically.
Did he ever talk about his family?
No.
Actually, he spoke during that ride. He spoke about his brother. He recently hadn't had his car, and his brother was borrowing his car. So that was his first time getting his car back. So because the week before that, he used to always ask for rides to go to soccer, but that week he said he had his car back. His brother was borrowing it from him. I'm assuming it's the same brother that was in the news with him. So
I think he has a younger brother.
I'm
not totally sure.
Oh yeah. No, actually, sorry. Yeah, he said it was his younger brother that was borrowing his car.
I see.
Yeah.
Did he ever talk about home? Did he ever talk about Russia?
I think he's Chechnyan. He never really mentioned it. He's pretty proud though, so I guess
He made a distinction every time I called him Russian. I mean, that's about it.
You made a distinction saying he was Chechen?
Yeah.
And did he ever talk about family, father, mother?
No, never.
Never.
Ever.
And did he ever discuss politics, any kind of agenda?
No, he was not really involved. I'm assuming that he wasn't too involved in the incidents. I'm assuming his brother might be more involved than him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's capable of like somebody to plan something like this as crazy.
Okay, we're going to leave this right now, Jack, because we have this scene in Watertown.
Yeah, something's going on, but something's been going on a regular basis since early this morning. Sarah Kanji is there, and a lot of activity in the last few minutes. We'll get to her in just a second or two as soon as we can get communication.
Jack, can you hear me,
Yes,
Jack?
hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, Sarah.
I'm staying out of the picture frame so you can see what's going on. And you're right, there's been a lot of activity, surges of activity now and again throughout the day here in Watertown. This neighborhood, though, was the focus much earlier this morning, and suddenly in the last 5 or 10 minutes, a huge number of SWAT teams have shown up, and they have fanned out. One group went into a cultural center, and now, as you see, these other teams are moving back into this neighborhood again. That was the focus much earlier this morning. It was very active this morning, and then it just became very silent, and now, as you see, lots of police have shown up. These police officers from around the state, and these SWAT teams, as you can see, their guns are out. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. They seem to be approaching another home, as if to enter that home. But we have seen scenes like this throughout the day here in Watertown, where there are moments of intense police activity. As you can see, William, can you turn to the right? You can see they're about to enter a home. It looks as though there is a shield. They're entering the home behind a shield there. Now, they have been going door to door to Watertown residents throughout the day to check. You can see people are exiting with a little child. Many of the residents have told me that they are more than willing to have their homes searched. Although it is a bit scary, they are comforted with the police presence that's been here throughout the day. Still, many of the residents say, despite how eerie and scary it has been throughout the day, they are comforted They feel safe by the police presence, and they feel it is the least that they can do to help in the search for the marathon suspect, for the suspect in the marathon bombing. Further down the street, again, the police have fanned out around this neighborhood. And this neighborhood was the focus
Sarah?
this morning. It's been hard to get. Yes.
I'm just going to interrupt you just for a moment, just to explain to our viewers, we've cut away from that picture of the front of the home where you're looking right now. We want you to continue to describe it for us. But we are cutting away because we don't want to give away any positioning of SWAT teams or what's going on exactly in front of that home that we were looking at. So we're looking at another picture of officers on the street. And have we lost Sarah? Or are you still there? Okay. All right. Sarah is going to be there monitoring the situation. We don't want to broadcast live that neighborhood or what is happening with that search of that home. But Sarah was in the midst of telling us that we have seen these bursts of activity throughout the way. There she is now. Sarah, can you tell us what you're looking at? Because we're looking at many more vehicles coming into the area.
Well, the folks, the residents of that home have all come out onto the front steps and out on their porch. There's another smaller child there as well. And now the SWAT members are retreating. However, the residents are still out on the front steps. It does seem that the police officers, their general demeanor is not as intense or excited. And I'm imagining if there was a real threat to this area that we would be pushed back, as we have been in other incidents as well, Paula. So we'll keep you posted on what's going on.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. We're going to check back in with you as you continue to monitor the situation in Watertown, and we continue as we approach the 5 o'clock hour with continuous coverage of the unprecedented events unfolding in Watertown and throughout the Boston area. Stay here with WBZ News.
Live from Boston, WBZ News at 5 starts right now.
And this is the face of evil, 19-year-old Johar Sarniev. He is the target of a massive manhunt that has been going on all night and all day around the Boston metro area.
There's explosions and gunfire going on down the street.
This was the scene last night. What people in Watertown heard, hundreds of shots fired, both from rifle and pistols. They are now in the search for a 19-year-old who is the suspected marathon bomber. His 26-year-old brother on the streets of Watertown was shot to death in one of those shootouts. And we've been following this breaking story for now nearly 19 hours.
And along with Jonathan Elias, I'm Paula Eben. We continue this coverage for you, and here's what we can tell you is going on right now. Investigators say that Jakan and Tamerlan Sarniev are responsible for the Boston Marathon bombings and the murder of an MIT police officer last night. And here once again are their pictures. Tamerlan to the left is dead, shot and killed in that gunfight last night, and Jakar is still on the run. Right now, police are asking everyone in Boston and these surrounding towns to stay home and not to go out on the streets. Remain in your home with your doors locked.
A lot is happening out and about, and I know curiosity does get the best of some folks. They want to know what's going on, but I think by this point everybody understands what is happening. Sources now are telling me that the search as of 3:15 in the afternoon had been 60 to 70% conducted. My sources just told me a short time ago that they're now up to 90%, which means they're almost wrapped up with the door-to-door search that they wanted to do. Whether they will double back to see if there's something they didn't catch the first time around, unclear. And remember, this search started in the middle of the night. very dark, and they're looking for somebody who is not only heavily armed, but also had explosives with him as well.
And we do know that most people, as we've seen, have respected the request and have been cooperating fully with law enforcement. Sarah Kanji is in Watertown for us, where she's been monitoring events all afternoon. And as we look at these unbelievable pictures from the neighborhoods and streets of Watertown, Sarah, tell us what you're seeing from your vantage point.
We are seeing SWAT teams go through this neighborhood, knocking on doors and talking with residents, having them come out and search their homes. I believe this is part of the door-to-door search that's been going on all day long. We have seen this kind of activity throughout Watertown, throughout the day, these surges of police activity. It's been incredible to watch these SWAT teams roll down these streets and then come into these neighborhoods. They are in full gear, protecting themselves from potentially explosives. What we saw just moments ago was a SWAT team knocking on someone's door behind a shield, and then having those residents come outside, talking with them some, and then retreating. And now they've moved on to another apartment building. They've moved on to an apartment building that they raided twice before earlier today. So they are definitely combing through these neighborhoods in Watertown. And on the same street, you will see two different areas of intense activity where one SWAT team is going into one building, another is going into another house. It's really incredible to see. And the residents here that I've been talking with throughout the day say that it is a little bit frightening, very eerie, being told to stay inside their homes. But they know that it is all part of this search. They're all too willing to help out and to accommodate the police officers who have come to their community today. We've seen some residents giving them water, helping them out whenever they can. But I have seen a number of police officers I've never seen in my entire career. It has been quite impressive, and security has been incredibly tight. We, just in trying to get around, have been stopped several times. We've had to show our media ID. Our vehicle has been searched on multiple occasions. At one point, actually, we were stopped and held for a while. I wasn't sure if we were going to be let go. They just said for our own safety and security, they wanted to check our vehicle, and they did not want us roaming that particular neighborhood. So that just gives you a sense of what it's like here in this community today. What we're looking at again are these SWAT people just roaming up and down the streets, and they are dressed all in black. They have helmets, and they have their rifles out. Their guns are out, and that, of course, is very frightening. But at this point, at the end of the day, it's become routine here in Watertown, and residents are very curious. A lot of them have been out using their cell phones, taking pictures. In fact, the folks who we saw earlier when we watched that that SWAT team go into their home, once they were allowed back in, they came right back out. A woman had an iPad. She started taking pictures. So that just goes to show you the atmosphere here today.
Yeah, I don't. Suffice it to say, you're not accustomed, especially say.